All right, let's truly dig into this because what's transpiring in Cleveland right now demands our undivided attention. This isn't your typical preseason chatter. It's a full-fledged quarterback upheaval, and it all revolves around one name, Shedur Sanders. Here's the bombshell. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski just shattered his silence on the quarterback situation, and what he revealed has ignited the entire fan base and, honestly, a significant portion of the NFL world. Usually at this time of year, coaches play it safe, delivering those standard lines like, "We're evaluating everything," or "Everyone's competing." But this felt different. Stefanski didn't just mention Shedur Sanders in passing, he made a point to single out the kid. And that's where things get fascinating. He suggested that Shedur might actually earn the starting nod in the Browns' first preseason game. And hold on. That's a monumental shift because you have Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl winning veteran, a seasoned pro, sitting in that quarterback room, and yet here comes Shedur Sanders, fresh from college, still acclimating to the professional locker room, and suddenly he's at the heart of a legitimate quarterback battle. So please, take a moment to smash that subscribe button, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for your support. Now let me emphasize this. When a coach publicly floats the notion of starting a rookie before training camp even commences, that's not coach speak. That's a declaration that reveals there's already internal momentum building behind Shedeur, and Stefanski is fully aware of it. Here's what truly stood out to me from Stefanski's comments. He said we're evaluating everything, but it wasn't just the words, it was the delivery, the tone, the conviction. He explained that every rep in OTAs is being scrutinized meticulously from top to bottom. They're not merely assessing who throws the most picturesque deep ball or who makes the flashiest play. They're observing how these quarterbacks react under duress, how they adjust at the line of scrimmage, how they command the huddle, and how they absorb the playbook during meetings. This is about more than just arm strength. It's about leadership, decision-making, and who can truly seize the reins of this team. And let me tell you, that speaks volumes for Shedur Sanders. From all reports, he's excelling in those situations. He's not some wide-eyed rookie just trying to stay afloat. He's demonstrating authentic composure, genuine command, and standing tall against veterans without flinching. Remember the expectations when he was drafted. He wasn't a first-round pick, not even a day 2 selection. He arrived with the tag of a developmental prospect, maybe a long-term project. Some even predicted he'd spend the year on the bench learning the system, perhaps even sliding to the practice squad if things didn't go smoothly. But based on what Stefanski and others around the Browns are saying, Shedeur has completely flipped that script. He's already taking reps in 11-on-11 drills. He's participating in 7-on-7s, and Stefanski confirmed that Shedeur will be back out there in the next session getting real snaps with the offense. That's not a let's see what the kid can do scenario. This guy is seriously contending for playing. And the buzz doesn't stop there. Colin Cowherd, who's always connected to behind-the-scenes intel, dropped something that really caught my attention. He mentioned that Browns ownership might be pushing for Shedeur to start early in the preseason. Let that sink in. Ownership. Not just the front office, not just the PR team. Ownership. That means there's financial and branding interest at play with this kid. The Sanders name carries weight. He's marketable. He attracts eyes. And you better believe ownership recognizes that. But at the same time, Cowherd added an important caveat. There's some hesitation. The Browns have a game scheduled in London, and thrusting a rookie quarterback into that kind of high-pressure, unpredictable environment is no small task. You're not just dealing with the opposing defense. You're dealing with transatlantic travel, jet lag, media scrutiny, and an entirely different routine. That's a tough ask, even for a veteran, let alone someone still adjusting to the NFL's speed. So here's the crux of the matter. Joe Flacco, he's the X factor in all of this. If he comes out strong, keeps the offense stable, and avoids costly turnovers, then maybe he holds on to the job a bit longer. Maybe. Shedeur has to wait. But if Flacco falters early, if the Browns drop a game or two and he looks shaky, then that door swings wide open for Shedur Sanders. In fact, Cowherd even mapped out a potential timeline. He suggested that if Flacco loses a pivotal early game, we could see Shedeur starting as soon as October 12th. And if not then, maybe by November 9th against the Jets after the bye week. That's when the pressure might become too much to keep the rookie on the sideline. And honestly, I believe it. Because from everything we're hearing, Shedeur is not just surviving, he's thriving. Stefanski himself said, "We're throwing a lot at these guys," and explained that they're giving them different looks, challenging them, pushing them hard, witnessing who rises to the occasion. And Shedeur, he's not merely rising, he's making it unequivocally clear that he belongs. He declared, "The Browns are a franchise that craves headlines. Not just victories, not just steady progress. They want spotlight moments. They thrive on drama. They want to be at the forefront of the national conversation." And Colin Cowherd summed it up best. Shadur Sanders is the kind of guy who delivers that, no question. He's the headline. Then Cowherd hit us with an even sharper insight. Dylan Gabriel simply isn't. Agree or disagree, that's a powerful take. And let's unpack that for a moment, because there's a deeper truth in what Cowherd's saying. Consider Shedur. He's not just another young quarterback trying to carve out a place in the league. He's the son of a football icon, raised in the limelight, under scrutiny since high school. Yet through all that, he's remained focused, composed, and consistently delivered on the field. Name recognition? Check. Charisma? Off the charts. Massive social media following? Absolutely. These are all attributes that NFL owners, especially this one in Cleveland, value far more than most fans appreciate. We always talk about the coaching staff, their depth charts, and their development plans. But let's not forget, owners hold real power. They have their own vision, their own version of the future. Shedur Sanders isn't just vying for a job. He's auditioning as the face of the franchise. He's the billboard guy, the one who sells jerseys and commands the national spotlight. Think about the history here. This is the same ownership group that drafted Johnny Manziel, traded for Deshaun Watson despite the controversy, and selected Baker Mayfield first overall. That's not random, that's a pattern. They want big names, bold headlines, and especially at quarterback. Look, I get it. It's easy to dismiss this as media hype, but this time the dots are connecting, because when Andrew Berry brought in Shedeur, he didn't mince words. He made it clear this wasn't just about adding depth. It was about competition, about igniting a spark in that quarterback room. And now that competition is undeniable. Berry explained that they spent a tremendous amount of time evaluating Shedeur. Every aspect, his film, his accuracy, his poise in the pocket, his leadership qualities. And even though they didn't enter the draft intending to select two quarterbacks, when Shedeur was still there in the 5th round, they couldn't pass him up. Why? Value, potential, and maybe, just maybe, because they knew the ripple effect it would create. And so far, that decision looks genius, because Shedeur came in with something to prove, and he's proving it every single day. From day one of OTAs, he's shown he's not overwhelmed, he's not starstruck, he's not just grateful to be there, he's dialed in, he's sharp, he's making reads, delivering with precision, and commanding respect from the coaching staff. So that's not just typical rookie behavior. That's the kind of presence that forces a conversation. Reports describe a telling moment that captured the concern perfectly. Gabriel, despite his determination, attempted to loft the ball over the line during a drill, only to have it swatted down by defensive tackle Mason Graham. The play didn't merely end in a deflected pass. It culminated in coaches, players, and even reporters commenting on how small Gabriel appeared behind the offensive line. One reporter was even caught on a hot mic saying, "I'm taller than him." That's not exactly the kind of scrutiny you want when you're vying to establish yourself as an NFL starter. But here's the plot twist. Gabriel is fully aware of this. The Browns were aware of it when they drafted him, and still they chose to bring him on board. Why? Because while height might be a limitation, accuracy, is where Dillon Gabriel truly excels. And Browns fans, let me assure you, this kid can sling it. Multiple OTA reports have underscored Gabriel's exceptional ball placement, whether it's a back shoulder fade or a precisely timed slant across the middle. His touch and precision are absolutely next level. In today's NFL, where completion percentages are on the rise and the margin for error is razor thin, pinpoint accuracy is everything. If Gabriel possesses that elite ball placement, he's already ahead of the curve. Gone are the days when you could scrape by with a 57% completion rate and still hold a job. Now you need to hover in the mid to high 60s just to be considered serviceable. That's why the coaching staff is observing Gabriel closely, because if Kevin Stefanski can tailor the playbook to Gabriel's strengths, much like Sean Payton once did with Drew Brees, another undersized but supremely accurate passer, there's a genuine opportunity for this offense to thrive. Remember how Peyton simplified the system for Bo Nix last year? Gabriel might need a similar approach. Streamlined plays, scripted drives, clean reads, just to help him get settled before letting him off the leash. If that happens, we might just witness a quarterback who quietly and methodically leads this team, not as a highlight reel sensation, but as a cerebral, mistake-free field general. That said, Gabriel doesn't have the job locked up. Shedur Sanders is generating plenty of buzz, and it's not just hype. By all accounts, he performed exceptionally well during OTAs, showing poise, composure, and an impressive command of the offense. Sanders is bigger, flashier, and some might argue has a higher ceiling. Reports even suggest he delivered the best overall performance of any quarterback not named Joe Flacco during camp. Yes, better than Gabriel and better than Pickett. That's no small feat. But here's where things get even murkier. ESPN recently ranked the Browns quarterbacks following OTAs, and here's how it shook out. Joe Flacco at number 1, Shedur Sanders at 2, Dillon Gabriel at 3, and Kenny Pickett at the bottom. Right. Pickett, the former Steelers starter, isn't even in the running. The chatter is that he might not even sniff the starting job this year, which brings us to the man currently wearing the crown, Joe Flacco. A seasoned veteran, a stabilizing presence, and someone who already understands Stefanski's system. He's also refreshingly candid about his role. In his own words, he's not here to be a mentor, he's here to compete. At 39, he knows the finish line is approaching, but he's not done yet. He's still firing the football like a pro, and the coaching staff trusts him. That's why most analysts, including yours truly, believe Flacco is your week 1 starter. Then what, week 6, 7, 8? That's where things get electrifying. If the Browns stumble out of the gate, or if Flacco starts showing his age, the leash will be short, and suddenly the starting gig could be up for grabs. Does Kevin Stefanski double down on his guy, Dillon Gabriel? Or does the front office, rumored to have been the driving force behind the Shedur Sanders pick, step in and insist on a quarterback switch? This is where internal politics ignite. And as mentioned earlier, there's mounting speculation that Gabriel was Stefanski's choice. Safe, smart, and system-ready. Sanders, meanwhile, might have been more of an Andrew Berry or even Jimmy Haslam pick. Big upside, marketable, and potentially a franchise face. That division could sow discord if the team starts faltering, and in Cleveland, when things go sideways, they really go sideways. So let's wrap this up before we close out today's exclusive deep dive. Dillon Gabriel. Short, precise, and playing catch-up behind a physically gifted rookie and a wily veteran. Shedur Sanders, and quite possibly being groomed behind the scenes for a mid-season takeover. Joe Flacco, the seasoned starter, but one poor stretch away from handing over the reins. And Kenny Pickett. He might as well start packing his bags. This battle is far from settled. In fact, it's just heating up. And whether it's Flacco, Gabriel, or Sanders leading the charge come week 6, one thing is crystal clear. This quarterback room is the most unpredictable in the entire league. So, Browns faithful, we want to hear from you. Who do you want under center on opening day? Now let's shift from speculation to implications, because what unfolds next in this quarterback saga won't just shape the 2025 season, it will reverberate throughout the entire franchise. Let's talk about what's truly at stake here. If Kevin Stefanski goes all in on Dylan Gabriel and things unravel, it won't just be a failed experiment. It could cost him his job. Remember, this isn't 2020 anymore. There's no grace period, no wait-and-see approach. Yes, he's led this team to the playoffs, but he's also staring down the most politically charged, high-pressure quarterback controversy of his career. If he backs Gabriel and Sanders starts lighting it up in practice, the front office and ownership won't just be frustrated, they might be ready to pull the trigger. On the flip side, if Sanders gets the nod and flounders, that's a direct hit on Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam, who, according to rumors, championed the Sanders pick. They're betting big on potential and upside, and as history has shown, when politics start dictating who lines up under center in Cleveland, chaos is never far behind. But there's another dimension we haven't explored yet: the locker room. Veterans in that locker room want to win now. They're not here for a rebuilding phase or developmental reps. They're here to chase a title. And while rookies can bring energy and hope, they also bring mistakes. If Flacco starts and the team is grinding out ugly wins, Stefanski might not dare to make a change, even if the front office is whispering behind closed doors. That decision, sticking with a 39-year-old Flacco to preserve locker room chemistry, could buy Stefanski time. Or it could cost him everything if it backfires, and this isn't just about winning. It's about identity. What kind of team do the Browns want to be in 2025? If it's a Flacco-ed, veteran-heavy, grit and grind offense, then the window is now. But if they pivot to Gabriel or Sanders early, they're sending a message to the locker room, to the fans, and to the entire league that they're playing for the future. That message matters because once you head down the development path, it's hard to turn back. And let's not forget about the fans. Browns fans are no fools. You've seen this movie too many times before. You know when a quarterback controversy is real and when it's just smoke and mirrors. Right now, it's real. And the frustration isn't just about the number of quarterbacks in the mix. It's that for the first time in a long time, the Browns might actually have two young passers with legitimate talent and still find a way to botch it. If you're a Gabriel supporter, you love his pinpoint accuracy, his poise, and his clean execution. He's the guy who can run a Kevin Stefanski game plan to perfection. But if you're a Sanders backer, you see the flashes, the energy, the playmaking spark that simply can't be coached. He has that it factor. The question is whether the Browns can get it to shine on Sundays. And let's be real, Kenny Pickett is likely out of the conversation. There's been no significant buzz around him in any of these OTA reports. He's trailing in reps, he's not making waves, and he's not climbing the depth chart. It's clear he was brought in more as an insurance policy than a serious contender, and with the way this battle is shaping up, he may never get a true shot in Cleveland. But there's one more name we need to mention, the guy who'll be taking handoffs from whichever quarterback wins this job, Quinshon Judkins. Let's circle back to this rising rookie for a moment. ESPN projected 922 rushing yards for Judkins, and while that might sound modest to some, it would actually place him in elite company. Only 13 runs. Attention, passionate Cleveland Browns fans, brace yourselves, because something monumental is stirring in the AFC North, and it could redefine the entire playing field. We're talking about a direct impact on the Browns' journey toward another Super Bowl run, a seismic shift that could leave a divisional rival reeling for years. And you're getting this news firsthand. But before we dive in, if you're a diehard Cleveland Browns supporter, hit that subscribe button to fuel this passion even more. Show the world you're part of this family. Let's unite and push toward that 10,000 subscriber milestone. Share this with your friends and fellow Browns fans. Let's get to the news. At this point, it's not just about his long-term potential. Shedur is turning heads right now. He's a legitimate contender for the starting job. And that 5th-round pick, it's starting to look like one of the biggest steals of the entire draft. So where does that leave the Browns? It leaves them at the center of a quarterback drama that might define their entire season. On one hand, you have Kevin Stefanski playing it cool, choosing his words carefully in press conferences, giving just enough to keep the media guessing. On the other hand, You have Colin Cowherd and other insiders stirring the pot, hinting that ownership might be eager to fast-track Shedur into the spotlight. And honestly, I think they are. I think ownership sees exactly what they've got, and they're not inclined to wait. They didn't draft this kid to let him quietly learn on the bench. They brought him in to change the energy. Whether it happens in week 1 or week 6, that change is coming. Of course, the big question remains, what will Stefanski do? Will he ride the hot hand and give Shedur a real opportunity in preseason? Or will he lean on the veteran, playing it safe and slow-rolling the rookie's debut? Because here's the thing, coaches are focused on winning now. They're thinking about job security. But ownership, they're thinking about legacy, about excitement, about building something that captures the city's imagination. And the truth is, Shedur has already transformed the atmosphere in Cleveland. He's no longer just the new kid on the block. He's earning reps, earning trust, and making it incredibly difficult to keep him off the field. Whether Joe Flacco or any other veteran tries to hold that spot a little longer, Shedur is right there, breathing down their necks, competing every single day. This quarterback battle isn't just about training camp anymore. It's about identity. It's about the future of the Browns. And Shadur Sanders, he's writing that story, one throw at a time. Now, here's where you come in. What do you think about all this? Do you buy into Stefanski's measured approach, or do you believe he's just buying time before the inevitable? Is Shedur truly ready to lead this team, or should the Browns be patient, let him sit and learn? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get this conversation going, because one thing is crystal clear. This isn't just another offseason storyline. This is the beginning of something monumental in Cleveland. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.